The subject was torture, as in we shouldn't ought to. The conversation, ranging from the Nuremberg trials to Klaus Barbie, was between a former Marine and a man who's never worn his country's uniform, Boss Limbaugh. And at one point, that ex-Marine compared Boss to a brainwashed Nazi. Our third story, the ditto heads are revolting. Or the ditto heads finally have revolted. Boss Limbaugh's flagrant acceptance and promotion of torture proved to be the final straw for one ditto head in particular. The caller's name was Charles, identifying himself as a veteran and as a Republican who voted for McCain. Charles told Boss he, quote, really didn't want to see Obama get in office. So far, so good for Boss, but things quickly went awry when Charles revealed that his problem is not in the way the president is running things, but in the way Boss Limbaugh is running things.
You know, Rush, you're one reason to blame for this election, for the Republicans losing. First of all, you kept harping about voting for Hillary. The second big issue was the torture issue. I'm a veteran. We're not supposed to be torturing these people. This is not Nazi Germany, Red China, or North Korea. There's other ways of interrogating people. No matter what Obama does, you will still criticize him because I believe you're brainwashed. You're just... and I hate to say it, but I think you're a brainwashed Nazi. Anyone who could believe in torture it has got to be, there's got to be something wrong with them.
You know,
and I know Bush wanted to keep us safe and all of that, but we're not supposed to be torturing these people.
Charles, if anybody is admitting that they're brainwashed, it would be you.
No, Rush. I don't think so. Now, all we have with you, Hannity, Levine, and Hewitt, sour grapes. That's all we have. And believe me, I'm more to the right than I am to the left.
Oh, of course you are.
I am.
Of course you are. You wouldn't be calling here with all these sour grapes if you were.
I'm so tired of listening to you go on and on with this.
I don't know of anybody who died from torture. I do not ever.
Not supposed to torture people. You remember World War II, the Nazis, the Nuremberg trials? You remember the Nuremberg trials?
Charles.
Klaus Barbie?
Charles, Barack Obama.
What's the matter with you? You never even served in the military.
Barack Obama
I served in the Marine Corps and the Army.
Charles, Barack Obama is president of the United States today because of stupid, ignorant people who think like you do. You and your ignorance are the most expensive commodity this country has. You think you know everything. You don't know diddly squat. You call me a Nazi? You call me somebody who supports torture? And you want credibility on this program? You know, you're just plain embarrassing and ludicrous. But it doesn't surprise me that you're the kind of Republican that our last candidate attracted. Because you're no Republican at all based on what the hell you've said here.
It's just in. A job is open for a call screener on Boss Limbaugh's show. Joining me now, somebody who won't be applying, Washington editor of The Nation, Chris Hayes. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Keith.
Now, we know that Limbaugh doesn't usually put people on who disagree with him, and now I think we know why. He really wasn't very good at defending himself against reality, was he?
No, what a remarkable clip. I really loved that piece of audio because you could tell. I mean, look, there are some times when people call into shows, I'm sure you're familiar with, and they sort of, putatively say, I'm on your side, and then quickly reveal themselves not to be. But I think with this guy, it just read as so earnest and honest and actually genuine, and that Limbaugh really didn't have any response to it aside from, insult the guy and say that you're no kind of Republican. Why? Because apparently the litmus test for the Republican Party is the support of torture in his view.
And just as there are no guarantees on the internet, there are no guarantees in the anonymity of call-in radio, as you suggest. That could have been anybody, but I think your idea on the read was pretty good too. It just sounded like a guy whose fuse had been lit a long time ago, and it went from something Limbaugh said. But let's assume, for the sake of this argument, that the caller really was both a solid Republican and a vet. What does this suggest for the Limbaughs of this world and the Republican Party?
The recent polling data right now about the Republican Party is pretty remarkable. I mean, what you're seeing is a party that is been repudiated to its core by the vast majority of the American people. it's now gotten to the point where something like a quarter of the electorate is comfortable calling themselves Republicans. And that's the quarter of the electorate that, you know, I think listens to Limbaugh's show and generally has incredibly deep-seated conservative, right-wing conservative beliefs. You know, that is not any kind of recipe or strategy for any kind of electoral prominence or victory in the American democratic system. And right now, I really think you see the beginnings of a fissure between the people in the right-wing coalition who want to kind of double down and sort of follow Limbauhism off the cliff. I mean, I think they've already gone off the cliff, so I don't know, wade through the canyon. And then the people that have some sense that this is actually going in the wrong direction, something needs to be kind of recouped here. And
as nice as it is to see an occasional outburst of the real world passing through those soundproofed walls, are we not, to some degree, also seeing the danger here, the essence and the essence of the problem of an echo chamber? If you miss one word as you repeat the catechism to Rush Limbaugh, you're out. And out of his movement, which is the Republican Party and the GOP and the conservative movement and everything else, any other name you want to give it, it's his, at least in his perspective. If you're going to miss one word, everybody's going to miss one word. Eventually, everybody's going to wind up being out. It's going to be Limbaugh and that slave camera that shoots him. That's it.
That's right, and that's a point that holds across the ideological spectrum. I mean, there is cocooning, you know, in every kind of political ideology. And as someone who's of the left, I know that I've seen it on my side as well. I do think, though, one of the things that's been frustrating, I think, for progressives is how disputatious people on the center left can be. And there's, I think, a more kind of instinct to fall in line on the right. And what you're seeing now is, even though that disputatiousness has been a political liability in the past for the left, and the authoritarian kind of fall in line instinct has been a benefit for the right, you're seeing now at a moment like this, when there's tremendous political peril for the center-right coalition in American politics, that they need to be more disputatious. They need more internal fissures. They need more kind of internal conflict and discussion of the future of conservatism, because the way the things are going right now is not reaping particular dividends.
What I don't get, maybe you have a thought on this from broadcasting and from journalism points of view, or even entertainment points of view, why didn't Limbaugh punt that phone call at some point? Why didn't he just hit that little red button and make him go away?
Well, I think Limbaugh is not at all cowed or ashamed of what he is and what he believes in, as sort of horrible as the things that he believes in are. I don't think there's any sense, I don't think there's an iota of shame in Limbaugh or in Limbauhism. I mean, I think that's one of the things we're seeing now. We see it in the House Republican caucus. We see it with a lot of the sort of movement organs of conservatism. There's a large part of the conservative base that doesn't feel they have anything to apologize for.
That, or he just forgot where the button was. Chris Hayes of The Nation. Great thanks as always, Chris.
Thank you, Keith.